No glorification of violence here. This story uses calm command presence, cameras, and the real police. No graphic content, no vigilantism, just a tight, dramatic takedown of imposters. At 5:17 p.m., two men in black polos stomped up my porch, pounded the door, and yelled, "HOA police! Open up!" My wife Nora opened the door with her phone recording. One of them slapped her phone out of her hand, glancing her cheek, and tried to step inside. I didn't throw a punch. I stepped out, said, "Hands where I can see them," and dialed 911. By the time the real deputies rolled up, the fake badges were on my doormat. One guy was face down on the grass, and the other was learning that HOA police isn't a thing. Beat. The letters, the warnings, and the setup. We live in a lake subdivision where the sunsets are polite and the rules are passionate. 3 weeks before Knockgate, we got a notice of violation for parking my aluminum boat trailer visible from the road. Fair enough, I moved it. Then came unapproved security camera, which points at my own porch. Then unauthorized political yard sign, which was actually my kid's Go Tigers poster stuck in a plant. We appealed, calmly. The property manager, Carla, beige, voice, capital N nevertheless, said, "The board's new enforcement team will follow up." Enforcement team. The next day, two guys in black polos with HOA enforcement patches started cruising on a golf cart with flashing amber lights they definitely bought online. They wore clip-on badges shaped like the moon and carried radios that seemed to talk mostly to their own egos. Nora texted me, "We've got mall cop energy." I said, "As long as they stay on the sidewalk." They did not. HOA police, open up. That evening, I was upstairs fixing a wobbly vent when the banging started. Nora opened the door a crack, phone up, and said, "Can I help you?" Inspection. The taller one barked, "Cameras and signage, step aside." "We'll discuss through the door," Nora said. "Who are you?" "HA police," he said, and flashed the kind of badge you get with free shipping. Nora angled her phone to capture the badge. The second guy stepped forward and slapped her phone with an open hand. It clattered to the mat and she jerked back, hand to her cheek. More shock than injury, but my blood did a drum solo. I'm a retired Navy SEAL. Here's the thing, Hollywood. Gets wrong. We train to turn chaos boring. My brain did 3 checks in one breath. Wife safe? Yes. Threat armed? No visible weapons? Escape routes? Door behind me, yard to my left. I hit the lock behind Nora, pushed the door fully open, and stepped onto the porch. Command voice. Simple words, big posture, open hands. Back away from my door, hands visible. Don't move. They flinched, surprised. That someone's dad came with a PA system. The tall one sneered, "We're allowed to enter for inspection." "No, you're not," I said. "And you just committed assault." I thumbed 911 and put it on speaker. Possible impersonation of an officer and battery, 2 males in black polos, clip-on badges trying to force entry, I said. We're at 418 Bayview. Dispatch. Units en route. Stay on the line. Minimum force, maximum receipts. Tall guy tried to shoulder past me. I stepped aside and used the same joint control we use in the teams to keep someone from hurting themselves. Or anyone else. No punches, no drama, palm to tricep, forearm to wrist, rotate, step. He was face down on the grass with his arm controlled in about 1 second, blinking at a dandelion. "Stay still," I said. "You're safe. Don't move." The second guy lifted his radio like a talisman and backed toward the steps. Our neighbor Jerry, king of the mid-afternoon brisket, was already filming from his porch. "License plate," I told Nora, and she moved steady now to snap a shot of their golf cart, which, by the way, said security in Comic Sans. "Arsas, you law enforcement?" I asked the standing one. "We're authorized," he said. "By who?" "The board." He swallowed. "We can enter for inspection." "Cool," I said. "Hold that thought for the sheriff." He tried to step off the porch. I raised one hand, palm out. Stay. He stayed. Command voice works on raccoons, charging dogs, and men who watched too many procedural dramas. Dispatch. Units 1 minute out. Does anyone need medical? I looked at Nora's cheek. Pink, no cut. We're okay, I said. One suspect on the ground, one standing. No weapons seen. I kicked the fake badge toward the mat with my sneaker. It felt like tinfoil that went to night school. Real sheriff, fake badges. 2 county cruisers slid to the curb like hope with sirens off. Deputies stepped out, calm, eyes up, hands free. The senior deputy nodded to me. What have we got? I let go of tall guy's arm and backed up, hands visible. Impersonation and battery. They claimed to be HOA police. Tried to enter, slapped my wife's phone. We have video. The deputy asked the taller one, Are you law enforcement? He mumbled, We're HOA enforcement officers. There's no such thing, the deputy said, already unimpressed. ID? The guy presented a laminated card that looked like it had been printed with a desk jet and hope. The deputy held it between 2 fingers, looked at the clip-on badge on my mat, and sighed. Turn around. Hands behind your back. He cuffed. Tall guy for battery and impersonating an officer. The second deputy had the other one sit on the step, then cuffed him for trespass and impersonation after watching Nora's video. The slap, the shove, the HOA police. The deputy asked me, You want medical for your wife? Nora shook her head. I want a copy of the report. You'll get it, he said. He turned to the camera and spoke clearly. For the record, HOA volunteers are not law enforcement. They cannot enter homes, seize property, or compel compliance. If they tell you they're HOA police, call us. The board president, Evan, arrived in a golf cart with Carla in tow, beige voice at the ready. This is a misunderstanding, she said, already aiming for, nevertheless. The deputy held up the badge like a sad cookie cutter. Your volunteers slapped a resident and tried to enter her home. This is not a misunderstanding. This is a crime. Evan looked genuinely wrecked. We'll cooperate, he said. Start by not inventing police, the deputy said. The emergency meeting that finally used a lawyer, the board called an emergency meeting. Half the neighborhood showed up with lawn chairs, popcorn, and opinions. The HOA attorney, a real one, not a badge, opened with a sentence I wanted to frame. There is no such thing as HOA police. Volunteers may observe and report from common areas. They may not enter homes, lay hands on anyone, or represent themselves as law enforcement. Ever. Diane the visor, because of course she was there, asked, How do we enforce rules? Notice hearing fines, due process, the attorney said. And if there's a crime, call the sheriff. You don't deputize yourselves. Nora spoke, steady. You can't slap phones out of hands. You can't push past a threshold. You can email. Jerry raised a hand, and to the shock of no one said, Also, Comic Sans on a security cart should be a misdemeanor. The attorney proposed, and the board passed, actual adult policies. No volunteer may identify as police, officer, enforcement, or anything that implies law enforcement. Approved shirt text. HOA volunteer. Volunteers may not enter private property, yards, porches, interiors, without the owner's written consent or a court order. Observe and report only. All compliance contacts must be written, cite, specific covenants, and provide a hearing date. Outside security must be licensed and insured. No self-styled pauses. Mandatory training on de-escalation and fair housing basics. Evan looked at us. We're sorry, he said. Not a perfect sentence, but it's a start. Court, consequences, and quiet. The state charged tall guy with misdemeanor battery and impersonating a public officer. The other with impersonation and trespass. They took a plea deal. Probation, community service, a fine, and a no-contact order with us and the HOA. The clip-on badges were confiscated, probably melted down into something useful like paperweights or life lessons. The HOA's insurer wrote to the community with 3 comforting words. Coverage remains intact, which I'm pretty sure means, please never do that again. Nora bought a new phone case and a tub of ice cream labeled emotional damages. She got a soft bruise for a day and a scarier-than-it-should-be memory that faded under a pile of neighbor kindness. Jerry brought brisket. The deputies did a porch check and laughed at my no HOA police doormat. I replaced the security sign on my fence with something truer. Smile. You're on camera. We all breathed better. What fake badges taught a real neighborhood? There's no HOA police. Volunteers can observe and report. That's it. If anyone claims authority to enter or detain, call the real police. Threshold. Boundary. Once you touch someone's door or reach for their phone, you're in assault talk trespass land. Film from a safe distance and keep the door between you and drama. Use command presence, not fists. Loud, clear, simple commands. Plus space plus 911 buys you time and safer outcomes. Fix systems, not just moments. Clear volunteer rules, licensed security, if truly needed, and written due process keep passion from turning into charges. Cameras are boring and beautiful. Time, date, and a clean angle beat 1,000 neverthelesses. If you like stories where fake authority meets real consequences, hit subscribe, drop a like, and tell me your wildest HOA moment below. I'll bring the calm voice. You bring the receipts.